Okay, here goes for episode 2 on the journey, Mind Your Journey. And I did watch that. I watched yesterday's one back only because I didn't really want to repeat myself overly so. But I guess it's just the nature of this that it will be repetitive. And I needed it repetitive. I watched, there's a dude called Chris Walk, and he's got a channel, whatever you want to call it, business called Chris Beats Cancer, and he's put out some phenomenal stuff, some really phenomenal stuff, and I listened to a lot of that in the bath, and mainly because I could just close the door, there's no kids, whatever, and I found a lot of what he had to say really, really powerful, and he talked an awful lot about forgiveness and about getting ourselves right, and in the 12 steps tradition, there's a massive emphasis on that. You can't graft new ideas on top of a load of resentment. And there's an old, incredibly old friend of mine in Brighton who repeatedly says, "Resentment's a posh word for hatred," and she's bang on the money. She really is. So, there was that aspect of it, just sort of really getting like serious about this sort of complete amnesty, complete sort of forgiveness of others, and then in turn self, which was a harder job. It was a much more of a I don't know a laborious process, and it still is. But what I did find really intriguing was that just becoming aware of my self talk, listening to the ways that I would phrase things to myself, and I wouldn't have anybody speak to me in the way that I was speaking to myself, and that was a really sort of powerful part of the process. There's another phrase that's drawn from. I tell you, being an alcoholic is an amazing precursor to cancer, because we're kind of familiar with terms like being as willing as only the dying can be. I mean, I can assure you that in January 2018, with ice on the ground, I really didn't want to be tucking. I only had these big tin bowls because I needed such volume that I didn't have any lovely porcelain bowls of that size. So I just had these tin bowls full of cold food, chopped onions, garlic, fennel, and leaves, endless amounts of leaves. I can assure you it wasn't what my go-to. But what it left me with, it left me feeling quite raw, because I became really acutely aware of how a lot of foods fix us in a certain way, not to the degree of actually having a fix of some kind of substance or other, but still, a few slices of toast and honey, 3, 4, 5 slices of toast and honey gets you there, in a way that 2 glasses of carrot juice doesn't touch the sides. So I was left feeling just all the stuff that goes on, and the stuff that I'd been avoiding for so long. So there was the Chris Beats Cancer. Another series that's absolutely awesome is The Truth About Cancer. They put out some amazing stuff. You will have to forgive the guy's dress sense, but you probably have to forgive mine too. But he tends to wear sort of like stars and stripes combined with Hawaiian shirts and stuff like that. But he's a good dude, a really good dude. And he got inspired to go on his sort of cancer inquiry. He just lost a load of family members, and he thought, surely it doesn't have to be like this. And now I know that it really doesn't have to be like this. I've never thought for a moment that I was going to die. Other people did, including a lovely person who came round to give me like a NutriBullet type thing, and I just heard some sort of rumbling in the doorway and stirred and came to see what it was going on, and the woman really jumped out of her skin. I think I must have looked a little bit like Skeletor at the time, and that sort of leads really sort of organically into another part of this, you know, experience, which was learning to accept help. I've never been really good at that. There was the asking for help, there was the just accepting help, because people were coming with all sorts of offers, including people I didn't even know. It was kind of easier to accept things from people I didn't know. But there was other folk coming out the woodwork that I had known previously that was sort of coming up with stuff, and I got sent packages of cannabis oil from California from people I didn't know. God bless you. Thank you. If you ever see this, I got sent packages. I got really into the beta glucan, except that I couldn't afford it. I wasn't working. I was just going into debt. I had done a bit of work in India, but as you can imagine, the payment wasn't what it was supposed to be, and of course it was late, and the work went on and on and on. So anyway, I was in this position of needing to accept, and one of the most amazing things that happened, which was hilarious, it's like a higher powered sense of humour moment, was that somebody actually offered to pay for me to go to the Gerson treatment centre in Mexico, where they sort of supervise you as you go through your juice fast. You just like, oh, God knows how many juices a day and 5 enemas a day and a whole bunch of other stuff that they do there. Obviously they can't do it in the States because they'd probably just get killed, because Big Pharma had got that stitched up. But south of the border, it's okay. But somebody offered to pay for all this, and I just burst out crying. I couldn't believe it, and I spoke to this person. I said, thank you so much, and they turned around and said to me, well, yes, better than just, and I said, what, dying, and that wasn't where they were going. What they were going to say is better than just having the money in the bank. Anyway, 2 days later, cut a long story short, I went round to accept this incredibly generous offer, and found out it was no longer on the table, and it was just really, really strange, because I'd hardly slept for a couple of nights, because I was oscillating between people don't do this. This is like £15,000 to go and do this course of treatment, and then when I went round to accept it, they didn't, and I really had to get over that. There's been a huge part of me, like an inner Wolfie Smith, if anybody's old enough to remember Citizen Smith, Freedom for Tooting, Come the Revolution, Brothers, One Day, Up Against the Wall. It was a big part of that. It was a big part of my sort of make-up, and it's still there to a degree, but to a lot lesser degree, because I'm surrounded by a lot of incredibly wealthy people, and I'm acutely aware of just how fucked up they are. Not because they're wealthy, just because they're people, and we're all fucked up. You could be fucked up and poor, you could be fucked up and wealthy. You just dress nicer, drive nicer clothes, probably eat better food. Probably, maybe not. But so that was a real strange one, having to sort of go from like, I'm off to Mexico or, whatever, to, it's, no, not there. And so, I really had to dig deep and just learn to trust again, back to trust. And, so many things came. I got given not one car, 2 cars, and nice cars, like, not some old nails. I got given 2 BMWs, not at the same time, but luckily, one died, because BMWs have some kind of crazy plastic flap that goes above the cylinders anyway. At a certain age, they dry up, or it fell in, grenaded itself, car over. And then along came another one. This friend of mine said, I haven't seen you for a while, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I haven't got a motor at the moment. He said, I'll just sort you out with the motor. 2 days later, he said, I've changed my mind. We're not going to get you a cheap motor. You can have mine. I'm going to get myself a new one. And I got another BMW, which is just amazing. Really, really humbling experience. I went to visit a friend of mine who I thought was going to give me, he said, I've got something for you. I thought he was going to give me some cannabis oil. because that's his kind of game. I'm not judging people for what they do. If cannabis worked for me in the way that worked for him, I'd be blazing 24/7. It doesn't work for me in that way. But I'm super grateful for cannabis in my recovery. And most of the cannabis I consumed was just straight off the plant. Just endless amounts of leaves and flowers, just eating them. You don't get high. It's there's no active THC in that, but because there's no active THC, you get more of the cannabinoids, you get more of the actual goodness of the plant. And in my sort of amateur research on the cannabinoids, what came up was that my favourite bit was this old dread in Jamaica, and I found out that the OG Rastas, they don't smoke. And this guy the interviewer was desperate to try and find out if this Rasta dude, who must have been 60 or something like that, amazing body, super clear skin, everything, and he just said, "Hey man, don't consume fire. It's just another herb." He's like, they juice and they eat it. So I was just sticking loads and loads and loads of leaves and buds through my juicer. And the friend that I thought was going to give me the oil didn't give me the oil. He gave me everything I needed to make my own oil, which I went ahead and did, because it's damn expensive. So that was a really beautiful thing for me, that money was taken out of my healing sort of journey to a really large degree. I didn't really have to worry too much about it, because just stuff just kept turning up over and over and over again. I've mentioned the beta-glucan. Some dude in the Middle East, a BMX guy that just came out of the blue. Hey, I want to send you this, and just sent me like 500 quid worth of beta-glucan. And then a little bit later on in the journey, when we were quite a bit later on in the journey, I discovered the birch polypore, which is the source of the beta-glucan, and it's everywhere. So I go wandering off into the forest, which is one of my favourite things to do, and just go pick my own. Anyway, I was going to make these shorter. This definitely isn't shorter, but a friend of mine who's been very supportive, who looks like she's found the elixir of life herself at 54, said, "Don't worry about making them shorter, just keep them organic, keep them coming as they are." So at 35 seconds, this is the end of this one. Stay peaced or much blessed or whatever the fuck I was talking about yesterday. Have a wonderful day.